Homesteading, and today we're going to run the Gravley a bit. You guys probably recognize this. This has been my 3-year project, but it's finally up and running and usable, so I'm super happy about that. We're going to use it to cut all the branches and the grass that's underneath my electric fence in my bee yard. You know, there's just a ton of electricity leaking from the fence to all the grass and branches underneath the fence. When you're trying to keep an electric fence working at its optimum, you really need to cut underneath the electric fence. I'll give you a little bit of an update on the bees. All my bees died in the home yard this year. Again, it's like a tradition. It just happens every year, and I try my best, but man, it's hard to keep bees alive in this climate and this day and age. I just don't know. But you know what? This is a fun hobby, and I'm continuing to enjoy doing it. So my other bee yard, I had 1 hive survive, so I was super happy with that. And then on Sunday, I thought, you know what? I'm going to come back in the bee yard and check the swarm traps. I used a lot of the old equipment, stacked it up, and I'm using it as swarm trap. And nothing was happening. But Sunday, there was 2 swarms. Big swarms that seemed to move into the hives, and I was super happy. And when I saw them, I said, man, I got to make sure my electric fence is working good because we do have bears around. So I looked at the electric fence, and since I didn't have any bees here, I haven't really kept cutting the bee yard down, and the branches grew up, and it really turned into a mess. And with electric fence, if you don't clear the grass and the branches underneath the fence, you get a ton of leakage, and the fence really isn't as effective or effective at all if it's really bad. So I thought, you know what? So I thought today we're going to try the walk behind Gravley with a brush cutter on the front and see how it does up against the branches and the brush and the grass and everything that's in the bee yard. So let's go. Okay, so I want to show you the bee yard. I've been meaning to come down here and with the brush cutter and clean this up for a long time, and I just haven't been able to get around to it. And today's the day. So basically, this used to be all cut down, and the brush grew up pretty quickly. So I need to cut all that down. So there's a few beehives that I left out. And I am super happy, but a swarm decided to move in. There was a lot of activity to begin with, but the whole box has a lot of activity. So I'm wondering how big that swarm really is. I think it's actually a pretty decent size. So, you know, I thought I might as well use the equipment I have. They're pretty much pre-made swarm traps. So you can't go wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with getting free bees. And these bees look really healthy. I'm going to let them set for a little bit. I'm not going to bother them too much. I want them to settle into the hive. We'll have to come back and take a look at them. So the second swarm moved into this box. This is my wintering box. It looks like there's a lot of bees here. So I mean, they've been here for the last little bit, and they're moving on into the inside, so we're going to let them settle for a little bit, and then we're just going to deal with it after that. But as you can see, my bee yard is really overgrown. I need to get in here and cut all this brush down. I don't know how well the Gravley is going to do because it's got pretty small tires, and it really doesn't like stumps. It gets hung up, but the brush cutter wise, I think it's going to work real good. Well, you know, the Gravley is running, and it runs really good, but there's still a lot of stuff I have to do to it. The starter solenoid is not working very well, and I ordered a new one, so it's going to come in. We're going to change that. So we're going to have to boost it every time I go to start it. bush hog is really, really usable. I am pretty impressed. Like, man, you come in here and clean up all that brush. It really didn't take very long. If I did it once or twice a year, it probably wouldn't even really get that bad. I think this is a few years of growth for sure. And I was able to get in the bee yard a little bit, but those stumps, I need to go in there and just cut those stumps down because that really hinders my progress. So there you go. This was the first real good run of the Gravley with the bush hog, and I am super impressed with it. Oh, I would definitely recommend a Gravley to anyone. This thing is awesome, and too bad they don't make these anymore. It's kind of a shame, really. This year it was super cold, and all of a sudden it got hot. And I don't know what it is, but man, the bugs are brutal this year. They're just absolutely crazy. So I'm going to hook the electric fence back up, and I'm going to get out of here before they carry me away. So that's about enough for today. You guys have a good one.